All right, so what I'm going to show you is going to be a base foundation of color mixing and kind of color theory, which I'm going to keep simple and straightforward. And if you can understand what I'm going to show you in this video, that's all you need to build a foundation to allow yourself to expand to using and understanding any color out there. So I got my primaries here. I got ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. Now, I know when you go to the store, you see, a whole bunch of different versions of the primaries. You see all different reds and blues and yellows. If you don't know what to buy, get these. You can't go wrong. Ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, cadmium lemon, titanium white. You should be able to mix any color in the world with these colors. So, first thing I'm going to do here is make a little color wheel. So I got some blue right there, and I'm just cleaning my brush here off screen. Take some yellow. We're going to create a little triangle here. I know this color wheel's very academic. You probably did this in school at one point. You got some yellow. Now, secondary colors, you mix blue and yellow, you get green. So mix some blue, yellow, got some green. Then we're going to mix some red and blue to get a purple. It's a very dark purple right there. And I know this seems very basic and you probably know all this, but I kind of have to explain this first to lead into the good stuff. So we got a nice purple there. So boom, got our primary and secondary colors. You can go to tertiary if you want, if you mix, them together and everything. But I want to jump to talking about complementary colors. These things are huge and so important and cool. Complementary colors are colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. So the complementary of red is green, complementary of yellow is purple. And what's so cool about these colors is that when you put them together, they desaturate each other. And, they kind of muddy up or they get grayed down. It's like, oh, why is that helpful? Well, let's say you're trying to mix a skin tone. Everybody has problems with skin tones, right? Let's just do my skin tone, whatever it is, peachy, kind of typical light flesh tone. So we'll start with an orange. Let's say that. That's what most people do. So I'll mix some red, some yellow, and they'll get this really orange look. It's like, all right, well, I can't. That's way too bright for a skin tone. That's so, vibrant. That doesn't look realistic, and it's orangey. So what do? I add its complement. What's the opposite of orange? Oh, we forgot to make... I'm sorry, I forgot to put orange in here. I thought my color wheel looked a little off here. Let's mix up a quick little orange. There we go. Sorry, orange. All right, so we got this light orangey color. So what's the opposite of orange is blue. So if I take a little bit of blue, it's going to knock down this and not make it so vibrant. Now, if I was trying to mix a flesh tone, this could be a flesh tone, certain areas of the, if you're doing a portrait. Now, if that's like, all right, that's a little too green. I don't like that. It's too green. Well, what's the opposite of green? Red. So go to your red. And now you can see with that, maybe we'll add a little bit of white to it. Now that is a pretty natural looking flesh tone. And how did we get there? We started by mixing up a base. We got orange. Then we said, all right, from that orange, where do we go? It's a little too vibrant. Let's do orange complement blue. So we knocked that down. It's a little too green. All right, what's green complement? Red. Now, you will get so good at this that you won't even be thinking about it. It'll be subconscious. You'll just be going, boom, 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 just rattling through all of these. So let's do one more example. Let's do purple. Say if you got say you're painting a portrait, a landscape, and you got some clouds. And you're like, oh, these big gray clouds. So you start mixing up a purple because you feel like that's the closest thing. And you're like, wow, that's just way too bright. I'm painting clouds here, not Barney. So how do I neutralize purple? It's the opposite. Yellow. So I add a little bit of yellow. Now we're getting closer to like a gray, dark gray cloud color. So I'm doing that. Yeah, that's a nice gray. Maybe go back to a little bit more blue. Touch more yellow. Now our gray is looking, now our purple is looking a lot grayed down, and like looking next to that one, a lot more natural looking of a purple. Now let's just do green real quick. So we got some green, mix up a little more here. So we got our green, and say if you're painting a tree, a lot of people struggle with greens. You got this green, that bright candy green here. What do we want to do? We want to knock it down with green's complement, which is some red. So we're going to keep knocking it back until we get a nice color that you could see on a tree or in nature somewhere. See next to that, a lot more natural looking. All right, now I'm going to talk about my favorite colors outside the primaries that I tend to have on my palette. And I kind of call these shortcut colors because that's what they are. Any colors that you see painters using after these are pretty much acting as shortcuts. So I'll explain that right now. So we got yellow. We'll start with the yellow ochre. I like this yellow ochre. It's a desaturated yellow. So let's say that we were painting our landscape and we were trying to get to a nice desaturated green. Now we know if we mixed our Cad Lemon with our ultramarine blue, we get a very candy colored green, which you can see right here. Now let's say we take our yellow, which is already desaturated, it's already knocked back a little bit, throw some blue. We're going to get like a nice olive color, which is great for trees. Like that's a very nice color for like trees in the distance here. It's a very natural, we're already close. Now you can alter this more if you want, but just by these two colors, you're already further down the line into getting it to where you want. Now the next color I have is burnt sienna right here, and this is going to act as a red. It's a very earth toned, knocked back, it's not very bright and vibrant like that one. So say if we were trying to mix up a dark purple, instead of going to that red, we go to this red and then blue. And this is actually my favorite way to get a black, because I don't like to have black on my palette really. So boom, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, got a very, very dark value. Now if you add a little white to it, you can see it's pretty gray. So it's a very quick way to get to a gray. And then last is this Indian yellow, which I've just been using lately, and I love it. It's great for landscapes because it's a lot lighter than it looks, like in the, on the palette there. So add a little white, boom. Call it liquid sunshine. It's just such a nice, bright, it's just such a great color. If you're ever painting something with the sunlight hitting it. Now say if I took this color, and I added some blue because I was trying to get a green, like a natural looking green. Since this Indian yellow is already like desaturated and knocked back, it's going to get me to a natural green pretty quickly. And this is just a great color green right here. It's great for grass. Love that. So it just acts as a quicker way to get the colors you want. Now every painter is different. Like every painter kind of has like their own, colors they like to have on their palette based on what they paint, what kind of colors they tend to go to the most. So start out with the primaries, get a hold of those, because if you don't get a hold of these aren't going to make any sense, and you're not going to know which colors to even get, and you're just going to start getting colors off the shelves, and you're not going to understand like where they're coming from and kind of where they fall in all this and where they fall in the color wheel and how you should be using them, and you'll just end up wasting paint, wasting money. You'll be mixing up giant pools of paint trying to get to a certain color. Whereas if you understand these, then you can move on and add these colors, and you understand why you want these certain colors and where they fall relative to these. So Hope this is helpful. Hopefully you have a better understanding of color now and you can take this and expand it and use it in your paintings. Speaking of which, I think it's time for you to stop watching videos and go get painting.